Welcome to Smart Wealth with Joshua.
Your daily stock analysis and catalysts talk. Today we're looking at Novo Nordisk.
And if you find our talks useful, please consider, subscribe, like, and comment underneath. We really want to know what you think.
Especially on this one, because today we are looking at, well, it feels like a crime scene, or at least that's what the market thinks it is.
It definitely feels that way. I mean, we're talking about Novo Nordisk, and if you're just looking at the stock chart, you might think the company just announced they're closing up shop.
Exactly.
But then you look at the actual earnings report, and the numbers tell a completely different story. It's just a massive disconnect.
It is the paradox of the year so far.
Yeah.
And that is exactly our mission today. We need to figure out how a company can, win the game, beat earnings, beat revenue, and still lose the price.
And lose it big, dropping 20% in a single session.
Yeah.
I was looking at the screen this morning, and I genuinely thought my data feed was glitching. Novo Nordisk reported Q4 2025 numbers. By all standard accounts, they crushed it.
They absolutely did. Let's look at the hard data first, just to set a baseline here. For the fourth quarter of 2025, revenue came in at $12.53 billion.
The expectation was what? Lower than that?
Oh, yeah. The consensus on Wall Street, what all the smart money was looking for, was $11.99 billion.
So they beat revenue by over $500 million. I mean, that is not a rounding error.
Not at all. And the bottom line was just as strong. Earnings per share, they came in at $1.02, beating the expected 92 cents.
Okay.
For the full year of 2025, sales grew 10%. So, looking backward, the machine is running perfectly.
Okay, so the car is fast, the engine is humming, but the market isn't looking in the rearview mirror, is it? It's looking out the windshield.
And apparently it sees a brick wall. That is the perfect analogy. Stock prices are never about what you did. They are the present value of what you will do. And the guidance for 2026, that is the brick wall.
That's it.
Novo came out and forecasted a sales and operating profit, a decline.
A decline.
Of somewhere between 5 and 13% for the coming year.
Okay, for a growth stock, I mean, this is the poster child for growth in pharma. A 13% decline is terrifying. That explains the panic.
It does.
But I want to understand the why. Why is the king of weight loss suddenly shrinking? Did everyone just stop needing the drug?
No, not at all. The demand is as high as ever. We aren't seeing a demand problem. We are seeing a pricing crisis.
A pricing crisis.
To understand this, we have to get into the unsexy weeds of the U.S. pharmaceutical market. We need to talk about gross to net.
Gross to net. Okay, unpack that for us.
So you have the list price of a drug. That's the gross.
Right.
But almost nobody actually pays that. Manufacturers pay rebates to pharmacy benefit managers, discounts to insurers, fees to the government. The money that actually lands in Novo's bank account is the net.
And that gap is getting bigger.
It's widening aggressively.
So they are selling the pens, but they're keeping less money from each.
From each sale. Exactly. And there are two specific villains in this story that came up. MFN clauses and the 340B program.
I saw those in the notes. 340B sounds like a tax code, and MFN sounds like a trade agreement. What are they actually doing to the bottom line?
Well, MFN stands for Most Favored Nations clauses.
Right.
In these contracts with big payers, it basically says if you give a lower price to anyone else, you have to give it to us too.
So it creates a downward spiral on pricing.
It does. But the 340B program is the real heavy hitter right now.
What is 340B?
It's a U.S. federal program. It requires drug manufacturers to provide outpatient drugs to eligible healthcare organizations at significantly reduced prices.
We're talking massive discounts.
Massive. Originally, it was meant for safety net hospitals serving vulnerable populations. But over the years, the number of entities that qualify has just exploded.
So more and more hospitals and clinics are claiming these discounts.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And as that volume shifts into the 340B channel, Novo is forced to sell a huge chunk of its inventory at bargain basement prices. It just erodes the average selling price per unit.
So even if they sell 1 million more pens, if a huge percentage of them are sold at a forced discount, the revenue growth just stalls out.
You can actually see it starting to happen in the Q4 numbers if you look really closely.
Oh, really?
Yeah, while the full year was good, Q4 sales specifically declined about 2%, and EBIT, that's earnings before interest and taxes, it fell 4%. So the cracks were already forming.
Before they even gave that gloomy forecast.
Right.
But there's a detail here I want to clarify. The notes mention a rebate reversal of $4.2 billion. That sounds like a lot of money. How does that fit into this falling sky scenario?
This is where it gets nuanced, and this is what the algorithm trading bots might have missed. Novo has a one-time financial boost coming, a $4.2 billion rebate reversal.
So like a massive refund check.
Think of it like that, yeah. It's good news.
Okay, so that's good news. That's good news.
It is. But here's the kicker. That gloomy 2026 guidance, the 5 to 13% drop, it excludes that one-time windfall.
Wait. So they're telling the market, ignore this giant pile of cash we're getting. If you look at our actual day-to-day business, we're going to make less money.
Exactly. They stripped out the good news to show the raw, ugly reality of the operating environment.
That feels incredibly honest, maybe too honest. Usually, companies try to massage the numbers to make things look better.
I think you're sensing the strategy here. There's a very strong suspicion among institutional analysts that leadership is kitchen sinking the guidance.
Kitchen sinking. Throwing everything but the kitchen sink into the bad news bucket.
That's the term. It's a classic corporate reset. You put all the bad news, every possible headwind, and the most conservative estimates into one forecast. You set the bar on the floor.
So that 6 months from now, when you report just okay results, the market cheers because you beat the disaster forecast you set for yourself.
Precisely. It resets the narrative. It's the under-promise, over-deliver tactic.
Yeah.
Just weaponized.
Okay.
But even if we assume they're sandbagging a bit, the pricing pressure is real. The days of high-margin injectable dominance are fading in the U.S.
So that's the bear case. Prices dropping, regulations squeezing them, stock tanking. But we aren't here to just read the obituary. We want to find the wealth-building angle. Novo isn't just sitting there letting this happen, right?
No, and this is where the deep dive gets fascinating. This is the pivot. If the price per unit is dropping and you can't stop it, how do you keep growing revenue?
You have to sell a lot more units.
You have to change the equation. The strategy has shifted from price to volume. You stop being a boutique luxury item and you become a mass market utility.
And Novo has a secret weapon to make that happen.
They do. The pill.
The pill.
This is the key insight. For anyone listening who wants to understand the future of this company, it's not about the injections anymore. It's about oral Wegovy.
I saw the numbers on this, and they are just staggering. But before we get to the sign-up numbers, explain why the pill is such a big deal technologically. I mean, we have pills for everything.
It's incredibly difficult because of biology. These drugs are peptides. Your stomach is designed to destroy peptides. That's how we digest food.
Right.
If you just swallowed Ozempic, your stomach acid would tear it apart before it ever got into your bloodstream to do its job.
So making a version that survives the stomach is a massive engineering feat.
It's a technological moat. Novo has cracked the code on bioavailability with what they call SNSC technology.
Yeah.
They've made it work. And now that they have it, they are unleashing it on a market that, let's be honest, hates needles.
The needle-averse demographic, it's going to be huge.
It's huge. There are millions of people who qualify for these drugs, who have the insurance, but who simply will not inject themselves. The pill unlocks that entire population instantly.
And the proof is in the pudding. The notes say that in just 4 weeks, how many people signed up?
170,000 U.S. patients.
Wow.
In 1 month.
170,000. That is an avalanche.
It's unprecedented speed. I mean, most drug launches take months or years to build that kind of patient base.
Yeah.
This tells us the demand for a convenient oral option is explosive.
And at $149 a month, which is the price point mentioned, it's significantly cheaper than the injections.
Right. And that fits the strategy. Lower price, massive volume. They are trading margin for market share.
And they are defending that share aggressively.
They are spending $500 million on ads in the U.S. alone.
$500 million on ads.
That is double what their main rival, Eli Lilly, is spending. It's a blitzkrieg. They are flooding the zone. They want to make sure that when you think weight loss pill, you think Novo.
Before anyone else can catch up.
Exactly.
Speaking of catching up, we have to talk about the other giant in the room, Eli Lilly. They have a Zepbound, and I've seen the headlines. The clinical data for Zepbound is actually better than Wegovy, right?
Yeah. If we look strictly at the clinical trials, yes. Zepbound has shown superior weight loss efficacy. In a pure data fight, Lilly has a stronger arm.
So playing devil's advocate here, if I can lose 20% of my body weight with Lilly versus 15% with Novo, why wouldn't I just switch? Why doesn't everyone switch?
Because the healthcare market isn't a perfect vacuum where everyone just picks the best stats. It's about access, habit, and friction. First, you have switching costs.
Meaning?
Once a patient is on a drug, tolerating it well, and has finally navigated the nightmare of insurance approvals, do they really want to restart that process just to lose an extra few pounds?
Probably not. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. There's a stickiness to these prescriptions. Second, Novo still holds about 50% of the U.S. GLP-1 market share. That is a massive incumbent advantage.
But the biggest factor,
The biggest factor right now is that oral formulation.
the pill again.
The pill again. Lilly is working on one. They have a candidate called orforglipron, but they aren't there yet. Not in terms of a mass market launch like this. Novo has a window of time, a multi-year head start.
And in the business world, a multi-year head start is an eternity.
It allows them to capture the customer. Once you start taking the Novo pill and it works and it becomes part of your daily routine,
Yeah.
are you going to switch to the Lilly pill 3 years from now?
Probably not. You've been captured.
Right. And there's new leadership driving this pivot. A new name at the top. Mike Doustar.
Yes, Mike Doustar. His background is very telling. He isn't a lab scientist. He was in charge of international operations. He grew international sales to 112 billion Danish krone in 2024.
So he knows how to scale.
This is a guy who knows how to scale logistics globally, which fits the volume strategy perfectly. If the U.S. is squeezing you on price, you go global and sell volume everywhere else.
Exactly. His mandate is to scale the pill globally to offset the pricing issues in the U.S.
Okay, let's talk safety. Because when I see a stock drop 20%, I worry about the balance sheet. Is Novo Nordisk actually in financial trouble here?
Not even close. The balance sheet is a fortress. They have robust cash generation. In fact, they are so confident in their cash flow that they're launching a share buyback program.
Oh, wow.
Up to 15 billion Danish krone for 2026.
Buybacks are usually a great sign during a dip. It means management thinks their own stock is on sale.
It does. And they are proposing an ordinary dividend for 2025, payable in March 2026. So they are returning capital to shareholders while reinvesting heavily into the oral franchise. They are spending money to secure that future volume.
So they're paying you to wait, essentially. That brings us to the charts. I'm looking at the technicals, and that drop, it looks like a waterfall. It is scary.
It is ugly. But in technical analysis, we call this a capitulation low.
Capitulation sounds dramatic.
It is. Capitulation is when the last of the bulls finally give up and sell. It's just panic selling. You see a massive spike in volume and a massive drop in price.
So the selling pressure is exhausted. The weak hands have folded.
Exactly. And the sentiment supports this. If you look at the news cycle right now, it is overwhelmingly bearish. 4 out of the top 5 stories are negative. You see words like plummets, slumps, collapse.
And as a contrarian, that makes your ears perk up.
It does. When the headlines are that uniformly negative, it often signals a bottom. We actually saw a similar thing happen back in July 2025. Stock crashed about 23%. Everyone said the growth story was over.
And then it set up a massive rebound.
It did.
So what's the shape of the recovery here? Are we looking at a V shape? A quick bounce back next week?
I wouldn't bet on a V shape. I'm thinking more of a Nike swoosh.
A swoosh. I like that visual.
A sharp vertical drop. That's what we just had, followed by a gradual, sustained recovery sloping upward. It won't happen overnight. It will take time for the volume of the pill sales to show up in the earnings and prove the thesis works.
Okay, so it's time for the verdict. We have the crash, the strategy, the pill, the fortress balance sheet. What is your final investment thesis score?
I'm giving this a 7 out of 10 bullish.
7 out of 10. That's fairly confident given the blood in the streets. Summarize the argument for us.
The market is efficiently pricing in the worst-case scenario, that pricing dip. It is currently ignoring the massive upside of the oral pill. We have a $149 pill that just acquired 170,000 customers in 4 weeks. The market is looking at the price of the unit, not the volume of the units. I believe that kitchen sink guidance is too conservative. This is a setup to buy a high-quality asset with a massive moat at a discount.
Buy the fear, as they say. So what should we be watching? What are the catalysts?
Q1 earnings, likely coming in May 2026. We need to see if that guidance holds up or if they start beating it immediately. And we need to watch those metrics on the oral Wegovy ramp-up. If that 170,000 number doubles or triples, the thesis is confirmed.
May 2026. Mark your calendars. It really comes down to whether you believe they can sell enough pills to make up for the cheaper price tag.
It is. And honestly, considering the global demand for weight management, betting against volume seems like a risky bet to me.
That is a fascinating takeaway. It's not just about the drug, it's about how you deliver it. A pill changes the game.
It changes everything.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into Novo Nordisk. A scary drop, but potentially a golden opportunity if you have the patience for the swoosh. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening.
If you found this breakdown useful, please do hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and drop a comment. Do you think the 20% drop is a gift or a warning? Let us know. We'll see you next time.